Alright guys, we're still going on part 2, Captives. Getting into chapter 18 now. A crumpled map. I dozed fretfully off and on throughout the day. We had serpent again for dinner, and Tabo munched on leaves and bugs. But there were no more questions asked or answered. Kara seemed preoccupied. She spent much of the day near the cave entrance, pacing back and forth. That night I tried to force myself to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I thought of the horrors I had witnessed. The deaths of my packmates, the hideous serpents. Who knew what more lay ahead? It seemed like only moments ago I'd been safe in my mother's embrace, watching butterbats flutter overhead. "Bix," Tobble whispered lately that evening, "are you asleep?" "No." Tobble crawled closer, trailing his blanket. "Are you scared?" "Yes," I said, because it was not in my nature to lie, and because I wanted someone else to know the truth. "I'm not," Tobble said, his voice wavering just a bit. He gave me a sidelong glance. "Could you tell that's a lie?" "Let's just say I'm beginning to see that there are many kinds of lies," I said gently. "You were very brave today, Tobble. You bit that giant serpent. What on earth were you thinking?" He smiled, and his ears wiggled. "I wasn't. I'm grateful you tried to save me. Trying doesn't count." "It does as far as I'm concerned." Tobble rolled onto his stomach, chin cupped in his paw. "You're the one who's brave, Bix. I couldn't believe it when you leapt off that cliff." "I couldn't either," I smiled in spite of myself. To be honest, I had a little encouragement, in the form of people trying to kill me. "What's it like to fly?" Tobble asked. "I wish I could fly," I said, "but Dairns can only glide." I stretched my arms to reveal my glissairs. "Still, it's pretty wonderful." "I fly in my dreams sometimes," Tobble said. "I'm usually gigantic too, with big, sharp teeth, and I'm always brave." I reached over and patted the little Wabik's shoulder. His fur, though muddy in spots, was long and soft, the lovely silver hue of a new moon. "You've been plenty brave, Tobble. I think you should try to go home." "Where is home, anyway, for you?" Tobble's chin trembled, and for a moment I feared he was going to cry. "Bossip. On the northwest coast, far from here." "They must be worried sick about you." "I suppose, although my parents tend to lose track of us." Tobble smiled wistfully. "It's perfectly understandable. Last time we counted, I had 127 brothers and sisters. 100 and... Wabiks have 8 litters a year, and most of us stay put. We don't move out. We just build more tunnels." He shook his head. "You should see us when we have a stibulary." Kara, who was dozing by the fire, made one of her bog-toed noses. Tobble and I shared a smile. "What's a stibulary?" "A ceremony, I'd guess you'd call it. We have them when we're 43, but only if we've achieved an act of bravery by then. It's to signify that we're grown up. There's a big celebration, and of course the official tail braiding." "You mean your 3 tails? You may not braid them into one tail until your stibulary. And you may not attend the stibulary until you have done something to prove your bravery." I tucked my tail under my chin. "Well, you've done that, and then some." Tobble rolled onto his back, and we both stared at the moon sails pulsing with pale light across the ceiling. "You must miss everyone," I said. "I do, but I know they'll be there waiting for me when I return." As soon as he said the words, Tobble gasped. "Oh, Bix, I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault, Tobble," I said. I tried to hide my pain behind a forced smile, but I knew he could see my trembling lower lip. I would never have that again. A family to wait for me, a family to miss me. "For now," I said at last, "my only home is here, with you. But Tobble, whatever Kara's plans for me, this isn't your fight." "Oh, but it is. 3 saves, Bix. Wabik code. Yes, I know, but still. There are some things I've been meaning to give you, Bix." Tobble sat up and reached inside the leather pouch he always carried. He pulled out several bunches of grass and leaves before he found what he was looking for. Here, I'd forgotten about them until I opened my pouch for breakfast. He removed a paw full of items and placed them on the floor. I found these when I followed you. They were on the ground near the mirror bear hive. I don't know why I picked them up. I thought you might want something, perhaps, from there. I stared at the objects, bits and shards of my old life. A broken pink striped seashell, a little toy pup made of woven reeds, a small flat rock with words carved into it, a frayed playa leaf. One by one, I slipped the items into my pouch. I reached out for the playa leaf. It was torn and singed at the edges, but even in the wan light of the moon snails, I knew what it was. My map! My map to the first colony. My fingers trembled as I held the leaf close, smudged and torn. You mean it belongs to you? Tobble asked. I could barely read my own writing, and not just because of my tears. Darens have a simple alphabet, and we all learn it as pups. But because we were always moving from place to place, we had little use for writing, and even less practice doing it. My handwriting was almost illegible. Tobble rearranged his blanket and curled up just inches from me. What is it? A map based on an ancient's poem. It's where the first Darens are supposed to have landed. I pointed to a spot on a small island. That's Darenholm. My pack was headed there when? To find more Darens? That's what they were hoping anyway. Slowly, I began to recite the poem. When I got to a living isle and a floating jewel, I glanced over at Tobble. His eyes were closed, his breathing even. I assumed he was fast asleep again, but he surprised me by reaching out his paw. I grabbed it and held tight. It was almost round, with rough black pads and small but impressively sharp claws. I was surprised at how light it was, and how warm. I couldn't help but remember the night Jax and I held hands, and promised to keep each other safe. I couldn't help but think about how we'd failed. I should have been there, I murmured. I should have died with all of them. Don't say that, Bix. Tobble squeezed my hand. I wish I could have saved them, I said, clutching the map to my chest. But I can't even save myself. Don't worry, Bix, Tobble said. We'll save each other. When Kara woke us up a few hours later, I was still holding Tobble's paw. Alright guys, that's the end of the chapter. I love you, and I will see you soon.